Hey guys, welcome back to Melinda's Messy Sink. Tonight I am trying a brand new recipe for dinner. It's a crock pot meal. It's Swiss steaks. So we're gonna figure this out together. The recipe looks super easy. There's quite a few, there's not a ton of ingredients, but there's probably 5 or 6 different ingredients, maybe a little bit more. But you get everything into the crock pot and then it kind of takes care of itself from there. So we are gonna use cube steaks. I had some in the freezer, and so what I did was I thawed those out and then I let them kind of drain. So I have a dredging station set up here. The cube steaks are gonna go from this flour mixture into this pot. They're gonna just brown. They're not gonna cook all the way. They're just gonna brown for a couple minutes on each side, and then they're gonna go here to go to the next step of our recipe. So that's kind of my plan. So we just started out with enough to cover the bottom of the pan, and then we'll figure out like if we need to add more. It did not say anything about seasoning the flour, so I didn't. I'm gonna make a mess here. I should use a bigger plate. I may have to reevaluate this plate situation, but maybe this is the biggest chopstick, who knows. All right, so then we're just gonna go straight into our 2 minutes is up, so we're gonna give these a flip. And we're gonna let them go for 2 more minutes and then transfer them to our plate over here. I'm gonna keep going, and once I get all of my cube steaks browned off, I'm gonna meet you over on my counter, and we're gonna get everything ready for the crock pot. All right, guys, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna start building the stuff that we need in our crock pot. So we're going to the bottom of our crock pot, we're gonna add some celery stalks, and we're gonna add some onion. I'm gonna break up my onion a little bit more here. All right, I thought I was filming and I was not. I used a little bit of beef broth, is what I'm trying to say, to deglaze the bottom of the pan. I apologize, I thought I was filming, but I was not. All right, so we're gonna build a few different layers of ingredients in our crock pot. We're gonna add diced tomatoes, and you do not wanna drain them. I'm using the petite diced tomatoes with basil, garlic, and oregano, but you can use whatever you have. I didn't use my chili tomatoes because I didn't think that would go right. So gonna add some minced garlic. Gonna add some thyme. It said about a ½ teaspoon. So I'm just doing it by sight. Gonna add some salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna go light on the salt. I can always add more later because of the salt that is in the beef broth. We're gonna add tomato paste. It says a couple tablespoons. I'm just gonna add the whole thing. Gonna add in my beef broth. Later on, if you want thicker sauce, you can add cornstarch. But for right now, we're just gonna do the broth. This tomato paste will break down as the crock pot begins to heat up. Next, we're gonna add Worcestershire sauce. I didn't have very much left in this bottle, so I'm just gonna put whatever was in there. And then we're gonna add in our cube steaks. All right, so this is me cooking on the fly, all right? This is how you guys do it as well, I'm sure. I'm gonna add those juices back in there as well, just for flavor. I'm gonna go ahead and add another can of tomatoes, and I'm gonna add some more beef broth and a little bit more seasoning just to make sure that all my meat is covered. I'll be right back as soon as I do that. I adjusted everything, made a little bit of a mess, but you know that's me. The main reason why I wanted to add more beef broth is because you know my husband likes everything saucy. So I'm going to cook some noodles that this will go on top of, and I knew he was going to want more gravy on top of those noodles. So now I am going to put this in my crock pot and I'm going to cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours. At some point in time, I'm going to dump a can of carrots in here as well. The recipe calls for regular carrots, like, you know, in the produce department, and I don't have any, and I didn't have time to go to the grocery store, but I'm gonna go ahead and add just 1 can of carrots in there, just long enough for them to get hot so that they don't get mushy. But this is the beginning stages of our Swiss steak. So I'm excited to know how this is gonna turn out, and I'll be back in just a little bit. The next thing that I really need to make sure of is that our cube steaks, I'm so far away, that our cube steaks are fork tender. All right, so we're gonna let this go here, let our carrots get warmed up. I'm getting ready to mix my cornstarch, and then hopefully, if all is well, when you come back, that'll be more of a gravy than a soup. All right, I know that you cannot see very well, but I just wanted to let you know that I am pouring in that slurry. And then we'll see how it goes. Reminder that I added extra liquid, so I may need to do another slurry to get to the consistency that we're looking for, but I thought let's start here, let's don't overdo it. Put the lid back on and then just kind of let this sit for another half hour, 45 minutes. With our Swiss steaks, I am going to use, I've got a half a bag, or a little bit less than a half a bag, of the wide egg noodles. So I'm probably gonna use all this bag and then some of this. So this is what we're gonna pour our Swiss steak on top of. Here is our Swiss steak over egg noodles. All right, full confession. I have not had a full-on bite, but I definitely tasted that gravy and it is delicious. I am so excited to give this a try. It smells good. It has really good flavor. Yeah, y'all, I think this is gonna be wonderful. Hey guys, so tonight for dinner, we are having chicken wings. And I was chatting with one of my good friends, Charmaine, from Charmaine Rosalie here on YouTube, and I told her that I had wings laid out for tonight, and she mentioned they tried a new recipe, so I am going to try a crock pot version of wings. So this week I've been busy at my full-time job, and so I've been looking for super easy dinners, and I've been trying to use my crock pots, which is working out great. So what I did was I took a package of chicken and I broke cut the 3 pieces apart, and I've got my drumsticks and my flats. I have my flat crock pot. You can use whatever crock pot that you want. It doesn't have to be flat. And all I'm gonna do is get all my chicken in my crock pot. She didn't say, the recipe doesn't say that it has to be a certain way. It just says add your chicken to the crock pot, if that makes sense. I'm gonna give my hands a good wash, get my countertop cleaned off, and I'll be back. Into a bowl, I'm gonna add 1 cup of the Frank's wing sauce, buffalo style. You could use hot sauce if you wanted, but the recipe calls for Frank's Red Hot. I had this wing sauce, so I wanted to go ahead and get it used up. Next, the recipe calls for 1 package of ranch mix. We like stuff ranchy, so I was thinking about adding 2 of these packets, but I wanted to see what it looked like with 1. I'm gonna give this a good stir. Hopefully you can see that okay in there. So I think I'm just gonna stick with the 1 because we're always gonna use a ranch dressing as well if we need to. I've got a student here learning how to make wings. She knows she's not allowed to get on the counter. What are you doing, Alley Cat? What are you doing? Are you being a good girl? No, don't get up. Okay, sorry, back to wings. All right, so I'm gonna get my crock pot back over here. We're gonna get this wing sauce poured all over the top. Next step, we're gonna get our lid on and we're gonna cook these on high for 2.5 to 3 hours. I'll be back whenever these are ready. Okay, here are our wings after 3 hours. They smell wonderful. Yep, that's all I can say is yep. All right, so what we're gonna do, I have a large pan. I'm gonna tilt you up just a little bit. I have a large sheet pan with a piece of parchment paper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the wings out of the crock pot and get them onto my sheet of my cookie sheet with parchment paper. And then these are gonna go under the broiler. So my broiler is heating up now, but I'm gonna get these out and get them ready to go to the broiler. So I'll be back once I get all these out. All right, friends, these are going under the broiler. Our wings just came out of being under the broiler. As a reminder, which I forgot to say this before I told you to put them in the broiler is not something you can set a timer and walk away from. It's something you gotta keep a really close eye on. So these went from somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes, but literally I was standing over them, opening the door, watching, making sure. Another thing that you could do is turn these over and get the other side crisped up as well. The recipe does not say to do that, so I'm not gonna do it because I wanna try it the way the recipe says. They smell really good and they look good, so I'm very excited to give these a try. I'm gonna let them kind of hang out for just a little bit and then we're gonna get them plated up. All right, guys, here is dinner tonight at our house. We are having slow cooker Buffalo Ranch chicken wings. I'm also gonna have some Hidden Valley Ranch on the side if they need it, but they may not need it because there's already ranch in there. So this is what's for dinner at our house tonight.